Carmen Joukhadar, Al Jazeera's Beirut correspondent. I'm currently covering the Israeli war from Ermesh in the south of Lebanon. For me, when freedom is not guaranteed in media practices, media outlets risk becoming state-controlled and lose their ability to investigate and inform the public. Undermining freedoms turns journalism into a tool of propaganda or manipulation. While it is often difficult to present a complete picture of reality, restricting freedom further distorts coverage, offering only partial narratives and failing in the fundamental role of informing the public. At the same time, freedom does not mean abandoning ethical and legal responsibilities, especially when we are covering wars and conflicts where respecting the rights and privacy of victims is essential. Freedom is needed, indeed, is sacred, but it must always serve people and their causes. Press freedom also requires genuine access to information and protection for journalists, especially in light of repeated attacks against them and the persistence of impunity, particularly in cases involving Israel. Ultimately, press freedom is not an abstract principle. It is a daily practice that must be defended to ensure that the truth remains accessible to the public.
Carmen, thank you so much. You're talking to us now from southern Lebanon. As you said, it's highly dangerous. You said just before we came on air that there are lots of planes in the sky and ongoing clashes between Israeli military and Hezbollah fighters. You know it's dangerous there because, of course, you were seriously wounded in a strike by Israel in October 2023 while you were reporting from southern Lebanon. And I wonder, how hard is it for you to go back to the south of Lebanon and still report from there? Because, as you know, again, earlier this month, your friend and Lebanese reporter Amal Khalil was killed too in southern Lebanon.
Actually, it is hard. I've covered before in Donetsk and Lugansk. I've covered different clashes also in the country. It is always hard, but the hardest part now, since 2023 on October 13, it was the very first attack in Lebanon. And after our attack, when they killed my colleague and friend Sam Abdullah, my medical treatment did not stop. But I decided to return to the field almost 3 months later. It wasn't easy. The attacks against journalists have never stopped. Like 1 week ago, they killed our colleague Amal and my dear friend also, Amal Khalil. It is extremely difficult. The experience we are encountering in the field and the experiences we are all experiencing in the field, it's true, it is hard, but it also brings us closer to the people suffering. We can understand their pain. We can express it because we have lived it. We are not only witnessing these things. Speak to us, they also feel relieved speaking and expressing themselves because they understand that we already share like almost the same experiences. So one side is the danger we encounter, especially that we are like the only reporters on the southern border, but at the same time, it brings us closer to the people and to their stories because, you know, we are the eyes in the field. We are the ones who document what's happening in the field, because whenever something is happening and you don't have reporters, you lose your eyes in the field. You don't understand what's happening. You will only have the narratives brought by either this side or the other side. So what you need is people or journalists in the field who are documenting what's happening, and they are also putting it in a background because they understand not only what's happening now, the whole background of the events.
Sure. And your on-the-ground reporting adds so much to your storytelling, but you've mentioned all the risks and the dangers and the friends lost, the dear friends that you've lost. I wonder, do you ever think, is it worth the risk? Or is it just the price you have to pay for press freedom?
Press freedom's cost is so high now. You know, whenever you want to see by yourself and you want to report in a genuine way, And whenever you want to deliver accurate events, like you want to be not, it's the situation is so hard. The cost is so high. We lost so many colleagues in Gaza. We lost also colleagues in Lebanon. And we understand that this press of freedom is costing a lot. But we need to carry on with our careers. We need to carry on with our mission. We need to highlight what's happening. What's happening is historical. It is extremely crucial. We are not only like reporting, we are writing history. We are documenting history, because after a few years or decades, people will go back to what we reported, what we delivered as information. Those are not only coverages or lies or DTLs or articles. Those are documents, historical documents, to understand what happened in the last 3 years. What's happening now is going to change the history of this whole area. So it is extremely important, and it is extremely important not to forget that there are civilians losing their homes, losing their loved ones, their beloved ones. So it is important for us, not only on a personal level or on a professional level as well, but it is important because not only press of freedom, but our humanity lays on this. It is very important for humanity to document all what's happening now. So I believe that now the need of journalists in the field is higher, even though we have a huge flow of information on social media and everywhere, and even by the people fighting on the ground. But whenever you are in the field, you know what's true and what's not, and how you deal with such informations.
Thank you for sharing that on the discrepancy between what's online and what's not. Maybe we can get to that in just a little moment. But you're reporting from Ramayek, as I understand it, in the south of Lebanon. Just give me an example of some quotes unquote real information that you can share, something that's really genuine that you've seen with your own eyes from Ramayek that no one else would know, and that really adds value to your reporting.
So first, it's called Ramesh. It's like the last. Behind me is the borders. So the first important thing that, for example, we were able to document is the clashes in Bint Jbeil, because it's so close to us. It's 5 kilometers away. Also, whenever they were bombing Ait al-Shab, it is just close to us. I can see it from where I stand. And whenever they took truck to demolish houses, also we were able to document this. And these are considered by humanitarian organizations as war crimes. So we were able to film, document, and speak about this. Also, when now the Israelis are speaking about this yellow zone, it is called an occupied zone. This occupied part of the country, we are the only journalists standing here and reporting what's happening here, how the people, like few hundreds of people or thousands of people are still here. We are documenting how they live. Today, we released a report. It's the only one, and from Ramesh, how the people are receiving aids. And it's becoming so hard. They don't have hospitals here. They don't have banks here as well. So we worked on a report explaining the situation that people here cannot get aids, cannot get money, cannot leave the area if they need any medical treatment. So it is extremely important to stand here, even though it is so hard for us and so dangerous as well, because I just mentioned it, we're just on the borders, and the Israeli positions are like hundreds of kilometers of meters actually away. So yeah, it is important to document and speak up for the people standing here, and also documenting what's happening on the southern borders, all this area, so-called yellow zone, or the occupied part of the country, for the first time after 26 years of the Israeli withdrawal. Yeah, we are documenting this. We are filming this. We have footage. So much footage of this, actually.
Thank you again, and also for correcting my pronunciation, which was, pitiable. Vramesh. I'll remember that now forever, I hope. And my apologies to everybody who might be listening to this and for whom Ramesh means something. Listen, we've spoken about the issue of safety, but another issue linked to that is mis and disinformation. The social media, the dark side, and there aren't many of you around, are there, in southern Lebanon? But there are an awful lot of people and trolls on social media creating this wave of hate and division. It's not really a fair fight, and yet you still do it. Do you ever think, gosh, we need a few more tools at our disposal to fight the good fight?
Well, actually, first of all, we have a huge flow of information, especially on social media. But viewers seek accurate reporting. Reliable journalism also requires presenting what you know, what you witness, along with a complete picture. I already spoke about the background information. Since the beginning of these clashes on the 2nd of March, I started sharing on my Instagram about what's happening, what I'm seeing, what I know from the field. And I always put from the field. And with time, there's an audience only relying on my information. And whenever they see something, they come back to me and ask me, is this true? Because they know I am in the field, so I know what's happening. Because the accurate news comes always from the field. Always. Because whenever you want to know something, you ask the one who is seeing it, who is witnessing it. You don't ask someone who is sitting behind the office. So it is important also, whenever you present any information in a divided country, just like Lebanon, to put it into a context as well. And you cannot put it away from also the threats journalists are facing, both technically and under the presence of drones, because, for example, especially at night, whenever we are on air, we always have drones all over our heads. So with all this situation, with all this scenery, it is so difficult. It is so difficult in the field to be always accurate in the news, to take care of every single detail. But you need to do it more than ever. I believe that now we have a huge responsibility to stick to the laws, to the humanitarian values. If we don't have these laws and values, so what is journalism about?
Understood, Carmen. You go to great lengths and take big sacrifices to do your work and to ensure that your information is what you're seeing on the ground. I see that you're wearing a helmet, you've got a jacket on, and you're clearly marked as press. It hasn't been enough to save a lot of your colleagues. I just wonder, this conflict is well known. Are there no better protocols, deconfliction protocols out there that might help you? Have you ever thought, gosh, I'm going out there and all I have is this meager protection. I need more. What's happening at a sort of system level to ensure the protection of journalists?
Actually, I usually don't work with security teams. I know the country very well, especially in the south, and whenever you have a bigger team, it means the risk is higher. So on a personal and professional level, I have undergone so many HEFAT trainings. I've been covering wars for like a few years, and particularly in the south of Lebanon. We coordinate with Al Jazeera's Safety and Security Department. We also in constant coordination with the Lebanese Army, the UNIFIL as well. We maintain continuous communication with our bureau in Beirut and the newsroom in Doha as well. Before heading to Mesh, we already also planned an evacuation plan in case the situation escalates and it's getting dangerous, actually. So yeah, we plan things before going, and we are very well trained. And even on the technical level, we are also equipped with sat phones because the communication is always disrupted in the south. So we plan very well our missions. So we try our
I,
best. But as for protocols and for the laws, we know that impunity always exists when it comes to Israel. We've seen this with Shireen Abu Akleh, with Isam Abdullah, And now with Amal Khalil, with all the colleagues killed in Palestine and in Lebanon, the impunity is like we know that when it comes to Israel, impunity always exists.
Thank you, Carmen. Impunity is something that the UN's always calling for action and transparent and immediate investigations. It's something that's been condemned from the top down. So obviously, we always hope for an end to any impunity and attacks on journalists and anybody, indeed. We're getting to the end of this interview. I know you've got a very busy day ahead of you still. You've done plenty of lives. You've probably got more to come today. Just from maybe a slightly lighter side, Carmen, before you head out the door, is there one thing that you have to have with you before you head out to southern Lebanon to do your reporting? Is what can you not do without?
If you allow me before answering this question, but because the part of impunity and the part of threats against journalists, if I may allow few things, because it is so crucial, especially now, everyone is asking, when are you leaving? Why are you still in this dangerous situation? Because, I believe that we have international laws that criminalize targeting journalists, but they are not enforced. Today, we are no longer dealing with targeting, but also the justification of killings with total impunity. The absence of accountability puts journalists, me and other journalists also, at risk and also endangers the narrative coming from the field. The world established laws after the Second World War, believing it had put an end to the crimes committed at that time. But what is the value of laws if they are not implemented? We must first reinforce these laws and build global lobbying, as we are doing now. We need lobby among journalists to support colleagues working in conflict zones, instead of doubting them or adopting narratives that do not align with legal standards and professional ethics. This is crucial because whenever we respect these laws and respect these values, whenever we support, all of us, because when we were attacked, we had Dylan with us. Dylan was an American journalist as well, and he was injured back then. So now we need to work hand in hand to stop this, because it's so crucial and it is threatening not only journalists, but the whole career, the whole job itself, the job itself.
So, okay, Carmen, if I had one last question to you before I let you go, it would be, as an experienced war reporter, presumably you need your gear, your microphones, your cameras, and everything else, your helmet, your vest, your security vest. But what's the one thing that you have to have when you're stepping out the door that you could not do without as you are in the field reporting? Something that gives you comfort, maybe.
If it's not the vest and the helmet, and I already have them, my medical kit, definitely, because I understand that medical kit may save not only my life, but my colleagues' life as well.
All right, Carmen Joukhadar, I really appreciate your time. And as I said, please stay as safe as you possibly can. It's very difficult to imagine the conditions you're working in. And thanks to you and your colleagues, I guess you must have a small team next to you. But good luck to you, and hopefully you'll stay in touch.